This is Charlie the Plug, your host of the Detroit Metro Plug podcast, powered by Empower You Ventures. Don't forget to subscribe so you too can be a part of the biggest empowerment network on YouTube and Facebook. We bring you weekly interviews of Detroit difference makers in the area of entrepreneurship, community involvement, also reaction to business news and community news. This does not happen without your support. Thank you. All right, welcome to the Detroit Metro Plug podcast, where connections matter. I am Charles McKay, aka Charlie the Plug, bringing you another episode of the Detroit Metro Plug podcast. Welcome to episode 119. I want to thank those who are joining us live and watching on our YouTube channel, the Detroit Metro Plug podcast. Also following us on the LinkedIn at the Detroit or at my LinkedIn page, Charles McKay, and also who are watching on our Facebook channel, Detroit Metro Plug podcast. Thank you for your support, your views. Please like and share. We're bringing you value content. Celebrating what's going on here in the city of Detroit, where connections matter. We interview difference makers who are doing great things in the city of Detroit, and we're celebrating the positive things. And you can hear unique stories that you may not hear on social media or even on the local news. And so we got an exciting topic today. We're going to talk about how rap music may be affecting our community. Is it hurting our community? Is it helping? Are there some positive things about it? So we're going to get into that today. So I'm excited. But again, thank you for watching. If you want to have a comment or a question for our guest who's going to deal with this topic, he's written a book about this topic. He has some other things he's doing in the community. And if you have any questions, please comment. If you just want to give a shout out or add to the conversation, I'll try to recognize you. But again, thank you. We're here in Detroit. It is hot. Hopefully you're somewhere cooling off with fan, air, or a cold drink, or catching this breeze by Belle Isle or the riverfront and watching us at the same time. All right. So before we get into introduce our guests, let me set things up here. I want to make sure you see our banner. There we go. Oh, wait a minute. That's the other banner. Here we go, right here. There we go. All right. So that's how you can support website. If you would like to support by making a donation, there's a Detroit Metro Plug 313 donation through PayPal. All right. Just a shout out to a friend of the podcast, and this is a way for you to support. Friend of mine who was on this show, they have a t-shirt line called Hood Nerd, 2 kinds of smart. So they have hoodies, t-shirts, different colors. You can coordinate with your outfit, with your gym shoes. And by watching this podcast, you can purchase your shirt. If you use the DMP 10, you get 10% off. Shop Hood Nerd today. There's a link there, hoodnerd.com, discount DMP 10. Or if you go to Hood Nerd Shop, and at your checkout, use DMP10. You can get your Hood Nerd shirt, 2 kinds of smart hoodie or t-shirt. You probably want a t-shirt. It's so hot today. Coordinated with your colors. Support a Black-owned business and support the podcast. So I want to do that. So take time to do that. All right. So let me introduce our guest. I'm going to add this person to the stage, and I'm going to do a formal introduction. Let's see here. 1 second. I'm going to pulling up my notes right here. Pulling up my notes. I want to make sure I have my notes sitting up here. What did I do with them? Oh, here we go. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, our next guest is a multifaceted individual serving as an author, a spoken word poet, public speaker, sports coach, entrepreneur, and youth empowerment coach. Hailing all from Detroit, he takes pride in being a product of his environment, Our next guest journey to self-discovery and purpose gained traction when he ventured into self-publishing after grappling with life challenges. His profound impact on losing his mother at a young age has fueled his dedication to offering encouragement, hope, and inspiration to those facing adversity. He is the self-published of two books, Blaming on the Music and also The Emotional Black Guy, all available on Amazon. Blaming on the Music is inspired by his deep love for hip hop culture, music, expressing a particular passion for uplifting youth, especially within the Black community. Our next guest considers himself that it's his earthly purpose to uplift and empower others. His natural writing ability evident in he has four books. My apology. You got four books. I only saw two. You got four. He'll talk about it, including, of course, I mentioned Emotional Black Guy, attest to his commitment to empowering others. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 119. None other than Eric Thompson Jr. Got to give you the air horns.
Appreciate it.
Yes, thank you for being on our platform. And as we talked before, we're here about celebrating the positive contributions people have in our city, and give you a chance to talk about what you're doing and to share about the stuff that you're involved in and share a personal story. And we're going to do an introduction of a topic, but just for our listeners, if I was to ask who is Eric, what would you tell them?
Honestly, always consider myself a storyteller, creative at heart. And honestly, starting with my story, I just want to encourage others to share theirs. So just a storyteller, honestly.
All right, a storyteller. I like that. All right. So we're going to get into our topic today, and I thought you were the perfect person to talk about that when I was reading your bio, and to talk about the rap music, hip hop culture, and how it's affecting in maybe a positive or a negative way.
Right.
We just got off. I mean, I don't know if anybody was living up under a rock, a rug, or locked up in the house, didn't have access to a phone or TV. But we just got off one of the biggest hip hop rap battles or rap beef between Drake, known as Drizzy Drake, over there in the OVO camp, versus Kendrick Lamar, referred to as K-Doc or Kung Fu Kenny. And so I ain't gonna lie, I'm 51, but hey, I grew up with hip hop. I was watching the back and forth and intrigued with everything that was going on, and whether you were a fan of it or were not. That had a lot of conversation. What was your whole thoughts about the back and forth?
Honestly, I don't like it, like, because I know what beef could lead to when it's like just entertainment, I guess. But sometimes with me, I listened, but I wasn't really like all the way tuned in. I've been a Kendrick fan since when he was dropping mixtapes. I was a Drake fan when he was dropping mixtapes. Not so much a fan of him as much as I was back in the day. But I really didn't like it. But I'm glad that it didn't end in nothing like too severe.
Okay, all right. And I like what you said. That kind of sets up the intro that I want to share with our audience. Recently, there's a big YouTube channel called Vlad TV, and he had an interview with a Southern rapper, older rapper. I guess he'd be considered old school, Boozy. One of his hit songs that they still play today, "Wipe Me Down." He was on Vlad TV, and he talked about rap beef. And I want to share this with our audience. Let me share the screen, get you a reaction. That kind of goes into our topic for today. Let me share my screen here, and 1 second. I'm going to show this quick clip. This is from Vlad TV, and let's make sure we got that up here. Yep, there we go. And I'm going to share this clip and now lead us into our topic.
Boosie has been outspoken about this, and he hates the whole battle thing because, and I did an interview with him recently at his house where he says in his city, Baton Rouge, 95% of murders are over rap beef.
95% of the murders in my city are rap.
Okay.
Chicago, 95% of the murder. And once you get a grown man, you realize every rap beef has led to destruction.
Okay.
Gotti, Dolph.
Yes.
Dirt them and all them motherfuckers out there. Duval County. All these, we talking about mamas that lost their lives, and nobody who supports the rap beef are gonna send a fucking GoFund.
I agree with that. I was just speaking about that today, how
All right. So your thoughts about that?
I mean, I agree with him. I kind of touched on it a little bit. Coming from where I'm from, like even aside from the rap, but just hearing people get into it and like men when they have a squabble, it sometimes it doesn't lead to like nothing good. It's like I don't think nothing good could come out of when you, especially when you the age we live in now, where people trying to embarrass each other on the internet and all of that. I just don't think nothing good can come out of that. So I agree with what he's saying.
Okay. Now I thought it was. I mean, I don't know if anybody's done research or there's been some data from the police or law enforcement, but he was arguing, man, 95% of the deaths. You think
that number? I'm not sure about.
That seems like that's kind of high.
Yeah, he might have been just saying something because I don't think he did no research on it either.
Right. But you know, I thought it was kind of, I don't know if he saw an FBI report or local law enforcement, but we do know that that creates that. Now, let's talk about your story. You have the book entitled, and I'm going to share this with the audience. Blame It on the Music.
Yeah.
So tell us what's your angle and what led up to this book.
So honestly, with the book, it's funny. It's kind of ironic. When I wrote it, I was speaking from the perspective of how much I heard coming up, what the negativity in the music, and I was like, damn, nobody really points out what good we can get out of it. So that was my angle on the book. Like, and I used the title just a play on words, honestly. But it was almost like paying homage to the music versus blaming. I just put that as an attention grabber.
Okay. So you thought that people were using rap music as a scapegoat, or it was what was your
like certain areas it can be used as that. It's like we don't talk about movies when we say what's destroying our neighborhoods. We talk about, they just like try to pinpoint it on the rapper. So that was the angle I took. Like, I understand that it is a lot of negativity in the music. The older I get, though, I understand like it's a deeply rooted thing that can be very destructive, and it's like deeper than our own understanding when we just being listeners.
Okay. How has hip hop culture affected you in your own personal journey?
For me personally, I feel like, so I spoke a little bit, like we said in my bio, my mom passed when I was 13, and we didn't have grief counselors. We didn't go to therapy. We didn't do none of that stuff. So I feel like the music served as that for me.
Okay.
Like it became my therapist, my voice when I didn't have one. I wasn't able to articulate my thoughts and how I felt when I was going through things, or just growing up in my neighborhood in general. So that was my spin. I feel like it provided me a sense of therapy.
Okay. And how did it provide you therapy? Was it the truth telling, or was it certain styles of music or certain individuals that spoke to you?
Yeah, I'll say a little bit of all of that. Honestly, though, like when I speak about losing my mom, right? Nas had an album called Godson, and literally during that time, he had lost his mother. So he made songs talking about that. And this man was like 20-some years old when that happened. I was a teenager. So it was like, oh, he's sharing thoughts that I like, damn, I didn't even know how to get that out. So that was it was like particular things that I went through, and then like listening to like Pop or like Ice Cube or somebody talk about like what's going on in their neighborhoods. I feel like they articulated what we were going through in our neighborhood as well.
All right. So they spoke your truth. They articulated what was going on in the neighborhood, and you connected with Nas as he shared his grief and his emotions and his thoughts on losing his mother. And shout out to you, just going through that. And man, it's sad that you didn't have access to the resources to help you to cope with your grief, whether it's grief counseling, and you were kind of left on your own to just kind of deal with this, and it looks like you've made it out pretty stable. I mean, it's still a loss, and you probably still have your moments,
Right.
particularly after coming from we had Mother's Day in May and Father's in June. But and I like the fact that you found a vehicle and you channel that. It looks like and when I was reading about your book, doing the research for this interview, you have a lot of positive things to say about hip hop, and the benefits. You mind sharing that with our audience?
Because I feel like when you talk about, like, they talk about Tupac sometimes, and obviously he had a negative side to him, like all humans, but he don't get mentioned like as a philosopher. Like, they'll quote Shakespeare, but they don't quote Tupac. You know what I'm saying? So I felt like that's kind of my duty sometimes, to be like, hey, these people were the scholars for us.
Mm-hmm.
That's really my mission.
Yes.
To highlight what they serve to our people.
Right.
That led to like us furthering what we doing.
Okay. And tell us what's your goal with the book, and what does the book mostly focus on?
Honestly, it was really it's what my whole message with everything, like, create constructive dialogue, like, especially amongst the youth. Like, I created a workshop with the book called Hip Hop Heals, where, like, although we can talk about the songs being negative, what I do with the kids, I'll go in and just ask them what they talking about. So it just creates that flow of dialogue between one another. Like, it ain't even about to point the finger about right or wrong. It's like, what are you taking from this? So it's really to make people think, be thought provoking.
Okay, all right. To make people think, be thought provoking. So do you? I noticed, I read about you being a spoken word poet. Do you do music, or you mainly write poetry?
So I write poetry. I've been featured on a couple of songs, but just as like a spoken word poet. I don't really care to do like be a rapper or nothing like that, which is
right.
kind of one and the same. But that's not my mission.
Are you more? People describe different styles, genres. Are you would be considered a conscious writer, poet, rapper, or something else?
I don't know. Maybe I guess I could be in that category. I feel like when you mention conscious, sometimes it gets like this negative connotation of like somebody trying to be holier than thou or something, and that's not me at all. It's just like I really just like to share my experiences from the place that I'm coming from. Yep.
Yeah. Now I think hip hop or rap is a great way to express what I call triple entendres. You can say more in a verse than you can say in a whole speech.
Yeah.
And it can have different meanings. So it's a powerful poetic vehicle to get a message across. Like a verse could mean several different things, and you can say it in a time span and get a message and have different layers. So I think there's some positive things. There are some things that people call as you get older, we pretend like we didn't have I had that ratchet rap or hip hop when I was younger, whether it was Two Live Crew or Too Short or whatever that wasn't selling. And then when we get older, we act like, oh my God, Sexy Red is taking it too far. But I realized that as I got older, I'm on different frequencies, so I want to be mellowed. I don't want to be, I ain't into, my era was gangster rap, and then it went to trap music, and now it's drill music. So those frequencies are a little bit too much because I like to be metal. So I'm on my smooth jazz tip, you know what I'm saying? But I don't like judge. I mean, I'm like, okay, well, we had our ratchet music too. But that's just how they're expressing themselves.
Yeah.
And as artists mature and get older, you begin to see that they evolve and mature in their music. So would you say there's some positive things, or overall, do you feel that it's beneficial or hurting our community, or is it just a vehicle to express yourself?
I think honestly, you can view it from every angle. I think there are aspects that are hurting our community, but I think it's a deeper discussion that needs to be had, because it's like, oh, she talking about this, like you talk about Sexy Red, like she got the girls doing this. Like, we can say that, but what it's like way more things that'll roll into why she even the most popular person, or like, so it's deeper than just what she's saying. It's like, who's the vehicle that's pushing her to the masses? Like, so it becomes a whole different discussion when you talk about that.
Right. Okay. Who's the vehicle that pushes to the masses? Okay.
Yeah, because it's like, I feel like with rap, it's cool to have the ratchet stuff, but like when I think what we're lacking right now, especially when I listen to like the stuff that the youth hear, like there's no balance.
Right.
Like especially on mainstream, like you got to go search for it, and that's cool. But like we're older, so we'll go search for what we like. The kids just listen to what they get played over and over.
Played. Okay. So you think there's like, I mean, I'm not saying you're a conspiracy theorist, but as we both know, that you can find what you like. There's conscious rappers,
Yeah.
And it actually started out that way, and then
Yeah.
we had the gangster rap so-called era in the '90s. But in the '80s, we had KRS-One.
Right.
You had man, I'm just X-Clan.
Right.
I mean, you could just name, and
Public
you had more
Enemy.
storytelling.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it just boom.
Right.
NWA came to the scene and just changed. But even though NWA was considered sort of gangster rap, they were truth tellers of what was going on in LA, whether it's police brutality, drug culture that's permeating neighborhoods, which they were telling what was happening. So it wasn't no made up stuff. It was just stuff that we pretend like wasn't happening.
Exactly.
Yeah. But you think that some of the stuff is the violence and stuff is being pushed towards young people?
Yeah, for sure. Cause it's like they don't even, like I said, even with the repetitiveness, like you don't get to pick. And of course, I mean, we all have a choice. But it's like if you listening to the radio, they only playing the ratchet stuff. Like I remember a time where they would bleep out all it wasn't, you had to have a radio version of your song. Now it's like half the song get bleeped out because
they play the explicit song and they
like
beat
they don't
it
even
out.
make radio cuts. And it's like you got so many cuss words, it don't even matter. You not like half your song don't even get played.
Right. Why do you think the industry is pushing that?
Honestly, man, like you said, not to be on no conspiracy stuff, but I feel like everything is like pushed to be a level of control. If you can get people to react a certain way, you can control them.
Right. Yeah. Well, man, I like the work that you're doing, and so who is this book for? Your book, Blaming on the Music, and we're gonna talk about your other stuff that you're doing as well.
Okay, so when I first wrote it, it was really for like people around my age. I was like 24, like college age students who were going through like some of the stuff I went through. And when I like later like started like pushing it out there and being in front of people, like going to events and all that, I'm like, damn, it's really for the youth too, because like they can get an education on some of the music, some of the artists, and then it's like just different stories where you can reminisce on some of the stories you had. So age range, I would go like 13 to like 30. Okay.
13 and 30.
Yeah.
And it's your personal relationship with music and art, right?
Yeah. At that time too, it's funny because like I read some of the stuff now, and I'm like, I don't even agree with what I said back then. But it's like that was when I first started writing. It was almost 10 years ago, so it's like
wow. The book is 10 years old.
No, it's not. But like when I first started writing, like
when you first started writing, okay.
Yeah, I published. Yeah,
gotcha. You started in 2016. All right. What's your what's your hopes and desire for the music, the art form to be? I mean, obviously you're still a fan. You use it in terms of your spoken word.
Yeah. I mean, I wanted to continue being like that strong voice for people that feel voiceless. I just think that we need more of a balance. Yeah. Like, because I don't knock like some of the ratchet stuff. Like it's times for it. Like you at a party, sometimes you don't want to hear no conscious rap. But
right, like, I understand. Yeah.
You have your times for it. But it's like it's like, I don't know. I almost feel like I be contradicting myself sometimes or even thinking about it. Cause it's like, I know that a lot of this stuff is to our detriment. And then a lot of times we don't talk about the power of spoken word. And then we sit up and repeat these words over and over about what somebody else is saying, not knowing their story and what they going through. So I just really hope and feel like it should be more of a balance.
So what you're not saying, you hear some like so-called people who, I don't want to call them religious, but more so people who are kind of like, hey, this should be banned. This is an evil form and stuff like that. You're just saying that, okay, we have the whole so-called side that's so-called ratchet or whatever, but there's also there's a vehicle that could speak truth to power. It's talking about just different topics. And your desire is for it to be balanced.
It's like share the whole story. Like we not just this. I feel like that's like that with black people in general. It's like we can be sophisticated. We ain't gotta always be ratchet. Like we're more than one thing. So like I feel like our story should be shared like in totality.
Right. Okay.
But the music still gotta be good though. David Banner said that one time. He was like, I don't care if your music conscious, that shit gotta be jamming.
Right.
So it still gotta be good.
I think who has a balance, and actually I think, I mean, you know, whether you agree with it or not, he got the he got 3 Grammys. I mean, just the name of, and he not got me supporting him or whatever, but I think Killer Mike has he's an OG.
I love Killer Mike.
He has a balance of conscious, talking about everyday things, but sprinkling in a little bit of information. I think he has is that a good example of somebody who
It's funny though, like when you think about his name though, like say you
I know Killer Mike.
This boy named Killer Mike.
His name is Killer Mike, but
I guess
he's
that
talking
is
about killing on the beat and rap, but he's not talking about
Because that's what I'm about to say. If you listen to him, you would get a whole nother message. You'll be like, oh, I just thought this was Killer. Like
right.
So yeah, that's a great example.
Right. Right. Good. So I want to talk about some other stuff that you're doing. He wrote another book, and I'm going to pull this slide up here so people can see. Let's see. Oh yeah. By the way, people can get this. This is I screenshot it. You can get this book now on Amazon, and there's a little bio. I believe it's there for $20. Is there a way that people can get the book directly from you, or
it's
Amazon?
I got an Etsy shop on my. If you like, click the link in my bio on my Instagram.
Oh, Instagram.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, because I know Amazon takes some of the
I try not to send the people to Amazon because of that, but some people trust Amazon more, so it's like, hey, it's on Amazon, so
right. I got you. Yeah, but all right, so for those who are listening, please get the book off his Instagram, which I'll show. We got that slide here. 1 second here.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Here we go. All right, so there's his Instagram.
Yep.
Eric _Thompson Jr. And on the bio, on the link, is it the link tree or something like that?
Yeah, it's right in there.
All right, so make sure you get the book through his bio on his link tree. Buy it directly. So we want to help this brother out. You know, let him get all the proceeds. All right, so tell us about this book, Emotional Black Guy. What's that about?
Okay, so that was my poetry collection. Over the years, I have been writing. And I'm like, damn, I want to create a poetry book. So that's really what it is. It's like just my shared thoughts coming up. I picked the title because when I was a kid, I got like, I mean, it was a negative connotation to be emotional. And the older I got, I realized like going through stuff like, damn, this is more so, it's not a negative thing. This is almost like a superpower if I know how to use it. So that was where the title came from. And what I did in the book was like I listed like a bunch of poems that I wrote over the years, and then I created like an interactive journal. And it was another thing just to create and spark thoughts, dialogue. It's a really big hit. Like when I go to like high schools and stuff, the kids love like answering the questions in the journal part. So
okay, all right, and they can get that same book, the book of poetry, through your Instagram profile. And click on the link there in your bio, your link tree.
Yeah.
All right. So tell us a little about more. So you go to schools and you speak.
Yeah. So it's really like what we doing right now. I share my story, go a little bit more in depth, like telling them what I went through. I think it's important. Like I came out on the other side of a lot of stuff that like destroy other people. And I feel like it's my duty to pour back into people that's going through some of them things I went through. Right. Like, so that's my mission. And I never would have thought I'd be doing this.
So what are some particular things you share when you go to the schools in terms of your story that
honestly like just how to overcome for real? Like we all go through things, and it's like that don't got to be the end of your story. So like I really am big on inspiring people to like not end where you at right now. It's like the storm is not always gonna last. Like it'll be over one day. So like just keep pushing and like just becoming your best self for real. Like that's my mission, to help people do that.
Help people become their best self.
Yeah.
Okay. And you speak at high schools, elementary, middle school?
Yeah, mostly for the most part. So far, it's been mostly high schools.
Okay.
I've done a little work with middle schoolers. I volunteer with this organization. They got like middle schoolers. I don't really talk to them as much. I do like basketball coaching, but it's along the same lines. Just present myself as like a positive role model and a mentor. So yeah,
Right. I think that deserves some air horns and
appreciate it.
some applause. All right, man. All right. Yeah, we definitely need you in the schools, sharing your story, how you overcame adversity, dealing with grief, loss, or just dealing with just street culture, how to navigate that, dealing with any challenges, growing up. It sounds like you know what it means to come out from the mud,
Yeah,
and
for real.
and just to make a life change. And I celebrate what you're doing, turn that into some positive things. On my slide deck, as I was showing with our audience, you were you recently, I don't know how long ago, but I saw this on your page. You spoke at a Detroit TED Talk. What was that all about?
Yep. So it was really I just was on Instagram one day and I followed TEDx Detroit and they had like auditions for speakers. And
okay.
I applied, not even like really. I'm like, I wasn't even ready to speak at that time or nothing. I just applied like whatever. Let's see how it goes.
Oh, you didn't think they was gonna so when you apply, what's the process? You got to fill out a profile,
it was like
a resume,
a form, tell them what you want to talk about. They had like like the Google form type of thing.
Right, Google Doc.
It was a full rundown about what you wanted to talk about. And what ended up happening, it was dope because they initially denied me. And they told me they didn't have any more spots. And then like a week before the event, they hit me up like, you do poetry, you can do a poem. We got like a 3-minute, they had like a 5-minute spot. So I ended up doing a poem on there.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. What was that experience like?
Oh, it was amazing. I felt like it was the preview to how I want my life to go. Like it was the dopest experience ever. Like they treated us like VIP, like great reception. It was the biggest crowd I spoke in front of at the time. So yeah, it was pretty dope.
Yeah.
That was 3 years ago. Or what was that? That was like 2021, I think.
Okay, about 3 years ago. Okay, yeah. That's dope. That's dope.
Yeah.
So you how often do you write and what inspires you?
Honestly, it's funny you said that. What inspires me? I don't got like a timetable of when I write. Like I write when I'm inspired. So it could be anything. Like with the poetry, I'll go to events. Like I'm always at open mics and stuff, or like just different poetry events, and I'm always getting inspired. But it could be like I could be sitting on the porch and get inspired. So it's like anything that like sparks my creativity is what causes me to write.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to recognize a viewer. Oh, proud big sister. Is this your sister? Okay. Thank you for this proud moment for your brother. And thank you for watching the show. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share what we're doing.
Yeah.
All right. So where can people find you? Where do you mostly do your art? I met you at the shout out to Viclita Taylor. She does her poetry and conversations. That's where I met you at. But where else do you do your art?
I mean, it's funny because in the city, people don't understand. It's like a big underground scene with poetry in Detroit right now. We're like flourishing. And shout out to another poet, Joel Fluent Green. He provides a lot of different opportunities for other poets in the city. He just won 2 Emmys the other day. So I just wanted to shout that out. But and he has events at like Aretha, the Jazz Cafe downtown. But literally just all over the city, east to west, it's like events every other day going on, every single day, actually.
Yeah. I've been into a few spots. You're right. There's like an underground of
like every day, and it's getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah. Brother Amari Barksdale, he hosts events. He's been on the podcast as well. Actually, he wasn't even talking about poetry. He was talking about commercial loans, but he's it's a lot of it's a lot of talent just underground. I think it's gonna burst out eventually. I'm probably even seeing some even some artists, R&B style, neo soul, rap, all the stuff that I'm amazed. I really think that we're I think we're in the midst of a renaissance because just based on people I talk to in my podcast who are doing different businesses in tech, restaurants, food, nonprofits, and I run into these artists and writers, and I'm just like, man, something's brewing here. And just all the other things going on in the city. I just think, man,
it's a super exciting time. I said that at an event I did in February. I'm like, just being amongst the poets, but like I'm on different scenes because I'm an entrepreneur. I'm in different crowds with the creatives, and I'm like, I honestly feel like this is probably how the artists felt when they were in the Harlem Renaissance.
Yeah,
Like,
I really when I'm
it's
around,
major.
I feel like I said, man, all this talent and
Yeah,
all these ideas are cross pollinating.
yeah,
There's
yeah.
entrepreneurs, there's people.
Hmm.
I'm connecting with people to do things. Then
Yeah,
all of a sudden you see like things start to blow up, and you like
yeah,
it's
yeah,
just brewing. I'm waiting to see it happen. And by
yeah.
me doing my podcast, I get to kind of like document or
Yes,
interview people
yes.
and have them share what's going on. So
Right. Yeah, that's dope.
yeah. So what's next for you? What's your plans? What do you want to share with our audience?
Oh man, what's next? So many things. I'm looking to put out another book soon. I'm not sure
Okay.
exactly when. I got like 5 books that I wrote, and I'm like, I don't even know which way I want to go.
Oh, okay.
It's
Well,
like
yeah.
so many different things. One other thing though, I'm speaking about a book. Like I started thinking about my TED talk, right? And I like to like have like create moments like that I want to happen in the future, like now.
Right.
So I started like jotting down different ideas for me to do like a full TED talk. So I've been
Okay.
working on like just little stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So work on it. You know that you got the stage before, so
Uh-huh.
work on
And
your
I'm gonna be
full talk.
prepared this time. I'm gonna be
Yeah, you're
ready
gonna
when
be
it
Detroit
comes.
TED Talk. I can
Yeah.
see you on the national stage.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Looks like you got another cousin fan here, Jessica Harris.
Yeah.
So
What's up,
shout out
man?
to you. Thank you for watching the
Shout out to
Detroit
my
Book Club
sisters
podcast.
too. I appreciate y'all.
Yes. Awesome. All right. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna take a quick break. Announcement. We're gonna come back and we're gonna talk about how people can connect directly with you and
Okay.
any announcements that you have. So we're gonna do a quick break and come right back with our guests. All right. So here we go. So I want to encourage people. We're coming up on Juneteenth, and you can support Black Leaders Detroit. Black Leaders Detroit is an organization that curates money, creates opportunities to help support local Black businesses, to give out no interest loans, grants, and other resources to help small Black businesses here in Detroit. And you can become a member just like me, become a hero, be a member. It's just $1 a week, $52 a year. Let me show you this quick little promo.
Black Leaders Detroit, they knew that during the pandemic that Black businesses were going to be left out of any type of funding that the government gave, and they wanted to make sure that they were able to figure out how they could step up and help, because again, this is their community, and they want to make sure that their community is still here when this pandemic is over with. And the only way you can do that is by offering support to your community, and so they stepped up and they did that.
I've been telling everyone I know about Black Leaders Detroit. The things that they're doing is simply amazing. And they're taking care of business for the Black business owners.
It's $1 a week donation to keep this great thing moving. $1 a week keeps it popping. Black Leaders Detroit.
All right, so become a member today at blackleadersdetroit.org, and $52 a year, $1 a week helps to support local Black businesses and nonprofits. They're giving over, last I count, $2 million in small grants, no interest loans, helping people to develop. They are helping the Renaissance here in the city of Detroit. All right, so let's get back with our guests. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've been watching, we've been featuring Eric Thompson Jr., the author of Blame It on the Music and the Emotional Black Guy, a collection of poetry. We've been talking about how rap, how is it hurting or helping our community? And we've come to the conclusion that it is a good vehicle. It can be used good or bad, but there needs to be more balance. And this brother right here is bringing balance with his unique style and spoken word. So I want to go into if people wanted to work with you directly, and I know you speak at schools, what would you say is your specialty outside of doing your poetry? How people can work with you?
Specialty. Honestly, I ain't even talk about my business fully. So I started a publishing company. Yeah, I forgot about it. I started a publishing company, and right now that's something I didn't mention too that I'm working on. I want to help people become authors. So I created a guide. I'm waiting to figure out when to launch it, but I created like a guide for self-publishers. And yeah, that's something that like I'm really big on. Like I say, I'm a storyteller, so I encourage people to share their stories because like even me being able to get in front of you, in front of your audience was because I was able to share my story. And I just know the power of doing that, what it could lead to.
Okay. So you help authors, people are aspiring who want to self-publish. You give them consultation and help them with the publishing company. So that's great. You also do speaking and poetry. What's the best way people to connect with you?
Everything is on my link tree. So I created like a speaker sheet. Like everything is on my link tree on my Instagram.
Okay. All right. So for those who are watching, you have a program. You need somebody to do poetry. Do you write fresh poems?
Say that again.
You write like if you're invited to an event, do you write something for that event?
Yep, for sure. Okay. Yeah. All very versatile with it.
You like a ghostwriter. You can work for Drake.
Yeah, that's I've been speaking to some people about that with like books and stuff too. But yeah, I'm trying to dabble in all of that.
Okay, all right. So so they can go to your Instagram, your link tree. You can follow you on Facebook. And then I wanted to include, because you may have some people who may not be heavily on social media. This is your email for speaking engagements, poetry presentations. They can reach out to you as well. All right. So Eric Thompson. Eric. Yeah. That's that. I want to make sure that email is correct. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's it. That's right.
Okay. All right. Just want to make sure. So, folks, we want to reach out to this brother, support him, buy his book, go to his Instagram. You go back there so you can see it again. It's Eric_Thompson Jr. on Instagram. Click on his link tree, get his book. If you want to inquire about his speaking, other events, do that. Follow him on Facebook. And for those who just like to do old-fashioned email, go ahead and email him directly for opportunities. As we close, any announcements? You talked about your publishing company. Anything you want our audience to know before we wrap things up and land the plane?
Honestly, I want to shout out like some of the people that's doing work. There's a couple organizations that I'm working with right now in the city, and I just want to shout them out. So I'm working with an organization called Detroit Hills Detroit. They're doing major work in the city of Detroit. Like the co-founder Sarita Darby, she's like a Forbes member. She comes right from the east side of Detroit, but like doing like major work. We got a program right now where we're taking formerly incarcerated youth and like just teaching them like how to be more self-sustainable and self-sufficient. We doing like a trip to Puerto Rico in August, like big stuff, man. So I wanted to shout them out, Detroit Hills Detroit. And also one more organization that I work with is called Active Minds Foundation. And it's along the same lines. It's more so centered around basketball, but they like really big on career development. So like just like tap in with those organizations that's doing major work in the city.
All right. And not to put you on the spot, but do you have a favorite spot, open mic spot, or a couple of them that you would recommend to our audience? I'm always
favorite spot. Oh,
I'm always looking for places to hear.
Okay. So like I got a few, but I'll name one that like always gives me like this really good vibe. It's called LPU, Love, Peace, Unity. They do it every last, I think, Sunday of the month.
Okay.
At 27th Letter and Books.
Oh, Letter and Books. Okay.
Yeah. So that's one of the like the best open mics for me. Like the feel you get, like it's always a dope vibe.
And it's on a Sunday afternoon or
Sundays
evening?
Around. I think it's from like what is it, like 6 to 8 or something like that. 5 to 8.
Okay, at 27 Letter Books. Is that a bookstore?
Yep. It's a bookstore on the I don't even know. I think it's on like Michigan Ave. I don't know the exact location, but yeah.
Oh, Michigan Ave, like in Corktown or somewhere else?
Yeah, a little bit in that area. Yep.
Southwest Detroit. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm always looking for spots.
It's a really dope spot. You'll enjoy yourself if you come out to that. It's always a good crowd. It's always good energy in the building. So yeah.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna check that
the founder, her name is Camilla Ivory too. LPU on Instagram.
LPU on Instagram. All right. I'm gonna check that out, man.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm always looking for good spots to hear some to see the artists at work.
For sure.
All right. So man, I want to thank you for being on this podcast, sharing about all the stuff to do. Shout out to you.
Appreciate you for having me.
Look forward to reconnecting again. I'm hoping to bump into you at one of these spots. Follow you on Instagram. So definitely like to go out hear some good spoken word, and just want to congratulate you on the work that you're doing, and I see just great things in your future. Yeah. Any encouragement you want to give to our audience as we close out?
Oh, I got a message that I've been like just thinking about lately, and it's like the storm don't last forever. We know when a storm come, eventually that mug gonna be over. So
Right.
just do what you got to do to get through it.
All right, I like that. I received that. That was for me too. The storm don't last forever.
Me too.
Work through it, and just keep plugging along. Yeah. Man, ladies and gentlemen, Eric Thompson Jr., poet, coach, entrepreneur, spoken word artist, just a great guy. Thank you again for being on this episode.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right, so that wraps up our episode for today. I'm dropping another pre-recorded interview on Wednesday for our Juneteenth celebration. Sat down with the curator, the creator and founder of Taste of Black Spirits, and he talks about Black-owned spirit companies, whether it's wine distilleries or whiskey distilleries, vineyards, and how Blacks are into the spirit industry. So we're going to talk about that. Long conversation with Lazar Favors. So I enjoyed that sit down. We're going to drop that on Wednesday. And again, if you like what we're doing, please subscribe, like, share. We're bringing you positive content to impact the city, also celebrating people who are doing great things. So please like, follow, subscribe. Let's see, we got it. Looks like there was another person. Want to make sure. Yes, thank you. Let's see. Make sure I get all the comments in here. Yes, Shamika Hammond. Thank you. All right. Make sure I get everybody else. Oh, because we got that. Got all the comments. Great. All right, so that concludes our podcast. We'll see you episode coming up this week, and I'll see you future with more guests that will what we call difference makers. Hey everyone, this is Charlie the Plug, your host of the Detroit Metro Plug podcast, powered by Empower You Ventures. Don't forget to subscribe so you too can be a part of the biggest empowerment network on YouTube and Facebook. We bring you weekly interviews of Detroit difference makers in the area of entrepreneurship, community involvement, also reaction to business news and community news. This does not happen without your support. Thank you.